Hi everyone and welcome for another Apitherapy video. Today we'll be talking about a product that we have and we sell since quite a while now, and let's have a look at it. It's that jar right here. We call it an Apicocktail, which is a mixture of all bee products put together. Really all different bee products mixed together. The base of it is honey. I'm gonna show you actually the texture of it, how it looks inside. So you really do have pretty much all bee products in there. You have the honey as the base of it. Then you have propolis, quite a bit of propolis. You have fresh bee pollen, so the pollen that hasn't been dehydrated, so it's fresh. And also you got some royal jelly in there, as well as what we call bee bread, which is lacto-fermented bee pollen that the bees themselves did lacto-ferment in the hive. So they put the pollen and the cells, those hexagonal cells in the hive, and they add some honey on top of it as well as their saliva, and that will lacto-ferment, micro-ferment a little bit, and that enhances some properties of the bee pollen. So you have all those bee products put together in one jar. So you do have then all the properties, all the benefits of all bee products in one single jar. Now the questions of it very often come to, actually those jars come from Romania, and that mixtures come from Romania. Why do we do that? Because we are crazy about quality of products. I always speak about being local, like producing, using local bee products and so on in apitherapy, but why do we still import from Romania that Apicocktail? Two reasons. First one, royal jelly in Canada. Do you know anybody that produces royal jelly? Some beekeepers will produce little bit, and they have a little bit of it. Not enough to do that kind of product, not at all. And very often they produce a little bit, they say it's their own, and then they sell other royal jelly that comes from China or somewhere else. So the quality of royal jelly that we can access in Canada is really poor. So that's why we actually sourced from Romania a really high quality. You have to know that Romania is one of the best apitherapy country in the whole world. They know really well apitherapy. Actually, the designer of that recipe here, of that specific Apicocktail, not any Apicocktail, but that recipe precisely with the proportions and everything, is Dr. Stefan Stangaciu, which is a Romanian doctor, and he actually created that recipe so that all the properties and benefits of bee products could be synthesized into one only product, and you can access to all of it in one single jar, in one single spoonful, and you have all this together. And he is probably the greatest speaker about apitherapy in the world today. Like, he's been to so many different countries, he talked about it, he helped many different apitherapy associations to take off, to start, and he's amazing. And he's also a great apitherapist himself. Being a doctor, he's practicing, he has his own practice, and he's doing an excellent job, and he really works hands in hands with other great apitherapists and people involved in apitherapy to develop it furthermore. He's just amazing. He's working with many different levels. So I will not like tell you everything he's doing because it's so much in that world of apitherapy, but he's a real reference there. And that's his recipe. And he actually worked with Dr. Cornelia Abilaru, which is also, of course, Romanian. She's doctor in engineer in food engineer, how to prepare recipes and so on, how to do that really well. So they work together in Romania, and they have one of the best royal jelly in the world in Romania, because they have so many bees, and it's really part of their culture. So the quality of their products is outstanding. When you taste that Apicocktail, you feel it right away. The first time we imported it, I was like, is it really good? Like, I didn't really know. And then I opened the first jar and I was like convinced right away, because the taste is there. It tastes fresh. you feel the quality of the bee products there. And it's just the best recipe I've ever seen for the moment for that type of mixture of bee products put together. So now let's talk a little bit about the benefits of that recipe. So of course, the honey acts as, it will actually preserve the quality of all the other components. And that specific recipe, and that Apicocktail, Dr. Stefan Stangaciu recipe, our blue label jar, that one specifically, this one contains the least amount of honey I have seen in an Apicocktail, in a mixture of bee products. So, and that's really good. It means that they work so well, the proportions of the products, that they've been able to have so little honey added to it. And that's good, because then you have more of the properties of the other bee products that have more properties than honey, of course. Honey is great, but still mainly carbohydrates in honey you'll find. Some minerals as well, of course some enzymes and more, but mainly carbohydrates. So if you are able to design a recipe that has as little honey as that one, you're start to talk about a really high quality Apicocktail. And that's what that one is. So very little bit of honey, but enough to preserve the quality of the other bee products. Then quite a bit of propolis. The propolis with its polyphenols will help, we usually say boost your immune system, but it's not a real boost. What it really does, it's actually, we call it immunomodulator. So if your immune system needs to be more active, it will help it and sustain it to do so. If it needs to cool down and calm down, it will do the same as well. So it's actually immunomodulator. So when you take your Apicocktail, you don't have to be scared, oh, my immune system will boost, or I have that disease, I'm not supposed to take anything that will boost my immune system. It's not a booster, it's immunomodulator. So if your immune system needs to push more, it will, and it will help doing so with its polyphenols. If it needs to calm down and just, be low profile and yet effective, it will do that as well. So that's excellent, the propolis added to that Apicocktail, of course, and actually the propolis will also help preserving the product itself. Then you have fresh pollen that hasn't been dehydrated. So that's the key there. Dehydrated bee pollen, first, the taste is very different, but also you lose many properties. All the probiotic, the enzymes will be gone, and many vitamins as well, vitamin C, etc. Many vitamins you'll lose. So it's important to have non-dehydrated fresh pollen, and that's what we have in that recipe. So this, what is in bee pollen? Protein, lots of protein, all the necessary protein, amino acids our body need to function. There's also lots of vitamins and minerals. So that's a really good addition in the cocktail if we're talking about nutrition itself. So honey to preserve, propolis for the immune system, and again, it's not a boost, it's immunomodulator, so it works on both ends. And then fresh pollen, and that pollen will be about nutrition. So preserving, immune system, nutrition. And this already is quite complete. We add on top of that some royal jelly. Royal jelly is a very special product. As I said, in Canada, there's almost no production of royal jelly. And most of the royal jelly sold, and when I say most, I'm very polite, it's almost all of it comes from China or sometimes other countries, but the quality will be very, very, very questionable. You have to know it is really expensive. And royal jelly produced in Canada is really expensive. Anyway, this is just for us to know a little bit how precious it is to have real royal jelly made in Romania. We cannot do that here for the moment. Beekeepers don't produce royal jelly here. So you have that royal jelly, real royal jelly, in that Apicocktail. What does that do? Well, royal jelly is quite amazing. It is the food for the queen bee that allowed the queen bee to live so much longer than worker bees. It changes things in that queen bee. We don't know everything about royal jelly, how it works exactly. Scientific study are a little bit lacking, but what we know, it's known to be used in Chinese medicine, for example, for longevity, but also there's study showing that it helps for memory and also for fertility. And it's also, antiviral, it's also anti-infection. It has properties like this, but maybe there's not enough to have that type of action in the Apicocktail, because you need quite a bit to get that effect. But what we know also is that it gives a cheer, it gives a boost for your mood. So if you are a little bit on the depressive side of things, that royal jelly will stimulate things in us, and it's a great stimulator, that royal jelly. It's quite a magic type of food. It brings all those things I just mentioned. So you do have some real one in that Apicocktail. And again, it's rare in Canada to find real royal jelly. That's actually one of the main reasons why we work with that Apicocktail. It's to be able to provide people with real, true royal jelly. And there's some in that cocktail. So you see that's the fourth ingredient. Then we have the fifth one, bee bread. Bee bread, as I said, is exactly like pollen, like fresh pollen. And that bee bread has a little bit of a different components. And what is so special about it is the fermentation that occurred. So the probiotic are a little bit different. The elements are very similar to pollen, but a little bit different. So you actually cover more ground. It's a bit more broad what you'll be covering. The study themselves differentiating fresh bee pollen and bee bread are not yet very, very detailed, but when you taste it, when you eat it, you do feel the difference. It's easier to digest. It adds a bit more, and it's really interesting for ourselves to actually get acquainted with bee products. Myself, I eat a lot of pollen in the morning. My breakfast, it's almost only fresh frozen bee pollen from my beehives. So that's what I eat mainly. Sometimes I put it in a smoothie. Sometimes I just eat it with kombucha. That's my nutrition because it's so healthy. It's so good. It's for me, it's the best food, and it's a complete food, and it's very balanced. So that's my way to eat. Not many people will be ready to go that step right away. Eating some Apicocktail is a really great transition to get acquainted with bee products, and you actually get acquainted with all bee products. Of course, you have to watch that you make sure you don't have allergies and so on. But other than that, it's such a great boost of energy. And many people will feel the level of quality. When we try to evaluate, is it fresh food? Is the vibration of the food or is high? Or, what's the quality of the food? How fresh it is. Is it? When people taste that Apicocktail, they feel very, very, very often, they're quite surprised to feel something really high, to feel, whoa, I really feel the full beehive in that jar. I really feel that food is complete. There's a lot in there. It's something so different than just honey. It's not honey. There's some honey in it, but it's way more than that. It's a real complete food. You got everything in there from the hive. And as I said, honey preserves, propolis do that immunomodulatory effect for our immune system. The pollen and bee bread will both be very nutritional, has a really high nutritional value. And then you have on top of it the royal jelly that adds some spark to it that really boosts your mood and will work on that memory, longevity, fertility. It's that type of effect that you'll be expecting from royal jelly. Of course, it won't change totally this, but it does. There are some studies that are proving already that it has some impact on those levels. So there are the effect of that Apicocktail. Now you understand also why we import it from Romania, because it's the best ingredients. There are really high professionals there. It's the best Apicocktail you can find. And anyway, if you find a local Apicocktail, most probably the Royal Jelly will be sourced from China, or I don't know where, but quality is quite questionable. And also, if they do add bee bread to their Apicocktail, which is really rare, by the way, to have bee bread in an Apicocktail, if they do, that also would probably be important anyway. So for us, we prefer to have all the ingredients coming from a really safe, good place where they source the ingredients to be the best possible. And we love that they make it and the way they do it so well. And they are professionals in apitherapy. We don't have that here. Of course, there are people making, Apicocktails like bee products mixtures, but they don't do it thinking that, yes, we have to keep all the properties of that ingredients. We mix that one at that moment and then this one at that moment, and it helps then the body to benefit and to actually assimilate those ingredients very easily. We don't have that level of professional here in Canada yet. I'm working for this day after day, year after year, but we're not totally there yet. I can guarantee you, as soon as we have that, that's what we'll be selling. We'll make the change because I'm all about local. So we are really thankful to Romania, to Dr. Stefan Stangaciu, Dr. Cornelia Bilaru, to make those Apicocktails and to actually teach us and to help us move upward in our quality of bee products in Canada. So that's such a great example. That's still what we carry, because even now it's still the best quality Apicocktail you can find in Canada. So that gives you, I hope, a good overview. Of course, it's good for pretty much everybody because you heard all the properties. It's good for everyone. You take a good tablespoon anytime you need it. Could be added to your meal in the morning. You need a boost in the afternoon. You feel a little bit, you're doing office work and you're losing some stamina there. Or even, a hockey player or someone doing lots of sport and needs some energy, needs a boost. That's a good timing to get that tablespoon. Take water with it. You can even dilute it in water, not in hot water, because you'll be destroying the enzymes and the probiotics in the product. So use lukewarm water to dilute it in it, and then you can drink it like this, or take your tablespoon, take a little bit, take some water, take a little bit of your tablespoon again, some water. You can go easily up to 2 tablespoons a day, no problem. Minimum quantity to feel some support from it could be really low, because that royal jelly effect, that mood boost, for some people, they take just like a 1/4 teaspoon and they feel it already. So that's just an amazing product. Hope you like it. Hope you're interested in trying it out. And if you're already eating it, well, maybe that video will be your way to learn more about what you're already eating. So thank you very much for watching, and see you another time for another Apitherapy video.